Imagine if the unspoken sorrows of one woman could save you from enduring years of suffering. This video reveals the 5 most expensive errors committed by an 81-year-old widow. Mistakes that transformed her prime into a period of avoidable hardship. No matter your relationship status, the lessons she learned through difficult experiences can guide you in preventing similar pain. She was neither impulsive nor negligent. She just didn't anticipate it. These weren't particularly noteworthy choices. They were subtle missteps that unfolded gradually. Yet, when accumulated, they constructed a life she would later confess felt significantly lonelier, more challenging, and more perplexing than it needed to be. This is not a cautionary video meant to instill fear. It serves as a soft reflection for those seeking to embrace the journey of aging with grace and respect. Her narrative isn't presented to criticize but to illuminate what frequently remains unspoken in discussions about aging. By the end of this video, you'll gain insights into what to steer clear of and discover ways to create a future that feels more secure, balanced, and serene. And if you've already made 1 or 2 of these missteps, don't fret. It's never too late to change direction. Stay with me, and I'll guide you through each one, sharing her perspective alongside my own. Let us commence. The first mistake was placing her complete trust in her children. She believed that, being family, they would always prioritize her well-being. It's a reassuring thought, isn't it? And often, it holds true. Yet for Martha, this became the initial subtle misstep that gradually eroded her sense of independence. Following the passing of her husband, she transferred the deed of her home to her eldest son to simplify matters. She also included another child in her plans. Bank account for assistance with bill payments. As time passed, she ceased to verify things on her own. What started as a matter of convenience evolved into a profound silence. The bills were settled, indeed, but decisions regarding her home, her timetable, and even her healthcare began to unfold without her involvement. She was completely oblivious to any warning signs. Her children were not unkind. They were simply preoccupied, often indifferent. She would catch phrases like, "We've already handled it, Mom," rather than asking, "What would you like to pursue?" Her unwavering trust in them led her to forego asking the necessary questions. The moment she understood that she needed someone else's signature to make a financial choice was the moment she found herself weeping in solitude in the kitchen. It wasn't about wealth, it was about honor. Older adults who relinquish control prematurely often do so out of affection. However, affection does not equate to surrendering your independence. When Martha finally requested that everything be returned to her name, her children were left bewildered. They had no intention of causing her pain. They simply failed to understand how profoundly she craved to regain control over her own life. If there's one thing she would change, she mentioned it would be this: maintain support nearby, but hold decisions even tighter. Even those with the best intentions can overlook the fact that you remain the creator of your own story. Entrusting tasks to others is a smart approach. Yielding without limits is not. For Martha, the price of that initial error was the gradual fading of her voice, until reclaiming it required significant effort. Erroneous decision 2. Agreeing to solitude. After her husband passed, Martha found herself enveloped by well-wishers, cards, casseroles, and calls. As the weeks transformed into months, a stillness enveloped the surroundings and lingered on. Initially, she found comfort in the quiet, relishing the opportunity to reflect and inhale deeply. Yet, she remained unaware of how the absence of sound started to mold her being. Upon receiving an invitation from a neighbor to join a book club, she offered a polite smile and graciously declined. When her church friend called to extend an invitation for a ride to Sunday service, she replied, "Perhaps another time." When her old friend from the sewing group inquired if she would like to join once more, she merely replied that she was feeling too fatigued. These weren't definitive rejections. They were tender departures, gentle farewells. As time passed, the invitations ceased to arrive. Martha had inadvertently shown everyone that she was perfectly content on her own. Yet, deep down, she wasn't. The quiet she had once embraced transformed into a haunting echo that she could not shake off. Loneliness settled softly, not as sorrow but as a gradual dimming of vibrancy from her days. Food was consumed in silence, choices were executed without dialogue. She recalled laughter more vividly than any experience. It wasn't that there was a lack of concern, rather, she had created barriers that made it difficult for anyone to connect with her. She believed she was being courteous rather than a hindrance, resilient. However, even a gentle refusal to connect is still a refusal. And when practiced repeatedly, it transforms into a routine that's difficult to change. Martha ultimately came to understand that loneliness doesn't merely evoke a sense of isolation, it persuades you to believe that perhaps you are worthy of it. Restoring those bonds required dedication, modesty, and patience. She needed to begin with the basics. Greeting neighbors while picking up the phone, participating in a church service, and gradually, life began to resume. If you're still engaged with this video and appreciating these insights, please drop a comment with the number 2 below to let me know you're present. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly encourage you to do so and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Your support enables us to keep producing valuable content that informs and inspires you. Now, let's press on together. Overlooking the harsh truths of finances, Martha had always placed her trust in her husband when it came to managing their finances. He was the one who took care of the renewed bills. The insurance oversaw their investments and ensured that taxes were submitted punctually. Following his departure, she believed that life would somehow carry on without intervention. For months, she neglected to open the bank statements, and when she finally did, she found herself struggling to grasp their meaning. Bills were paid late, small penalties started to accumulate, and she failed to notice that one of their insurance policies had quietly lapsed. When a considerate neighbor inquired if she required assistance with anything, she declined. A sense of embarrassment washed over her. At 81, she had experienced a life rich with moments and memories. How could she confess her lack of understanding regarding her own finances? She chose silence, allowing pride to masquerade as dignity. Yet, the reality was that avoidance only exacerbated the situation. One day, she stumbled upon the realization that a modest inheritance her husband had bequeathed to her was now sitting in an account that had since incurred charges. Monthly maintenance fees gradually diminishing it. On another occasion, she was deceived by a phone scam. Only a single call, a solitary error, yet it exacted a price far beyond her means. She kept it from her children. She aimed to avoid appearing vulnerable, yet that silence exacted a toll on her tranquility. Eventually, Martha mustered the bravery to request her daughter's assistance in reviewing her finances. Seeking assistance was a challenging endeavor. It's a rare occasion when you've dedicated your life to supporting others. Yet, that instance of openness became her salvation. Together, they arranged for automatic payments for her expenses. Met with a financial advisor and even canceled a few subscriptions she hadn't realized were still charging her monthly. Martha discovered that seeking assistance is not a sign of weakness. It's insight. Wealth requires careful oversight, and as we age, the need for understanding becomes increasingly vital. Delaying the confrontation of financial realities can result in unnecessary anxiety, diminished savings, and restless nights. And those are weights no widow should bear in solitude. Mistake 4, allowing bitterness to fester rather than seeking healing. Martha never considered herself an angry person, yet gradually, the small irritations began to erode her spirit. The neighbor who ceased reaching out, the friend who skipped the funeral, the distant relative who never picked up the phone. She convinced herself that disappointment was all she felt. Yet deep down, she was wounded, and rather than confronting that hurt, she allowed it to solidify within her. She revisited conversations from years past, clinging to grievances like cherished mementos, and at times, she would snap at others unintentionally. One afternoon, her grandson came by, eager to share a story from school. However, when he accidentally knocked over a vase, Martha's voice rose sharply. The boy recoiled, falling into silence. That night, sleep eluded her. She came to understand that her response was less about her boss and more about a weight she had yet to confront. Unchecked bitterness alters our perception of the world, casting a chill over everything we encounter. Each moment of quiet feels like a dismissal. Each error feels like a reflection of oneself. Martha started journaling not as a way to linger on her pain, but to let it go. She also became part of a grief support group, where she listened to others share their experiences of loss and recovery. Gradually, her heart began to warm. She extended her hand to the friend she had been keeping at a distance and softly expressed, "I miss you." They had lunch the following week, and Martha discovered that healing isn't about pretending the pain never occurred. It's about refusing to let it shape your identity. Releasing resentment allowed her to find joy once more, to forge connections again, and to embrace love again, even during the quieter moments of her life. If you're still engaged with this video and appreciating these reflections, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're present. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly encourage you to do so and activate the notification bell to ensure you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Your support enables us to keep producing valuable content that informs and inspires you. Now, let's move ahead. She made the error of distancing herself from new opportunities. Following her husband's passing, Martha gradually started declining invitations. Initially, it stemmed from sorrow. Gradually, it turned into a routine. Attending church gatherings became an overwhelming experience. Her cousin's calls went unanswered when the local library announced a memoir writing class. She caught sight of the flyer and discarded it. "I'm too old to embark on something new," she reasoned. Yet, with every decision to prioritize comfort over curiosity, her world shrank just a bit more. She lingered in her robe, and meals turned into simpler, less frequent affairs. The days melded into one another. What she failed to see was that isolation wasn't merely about solitude, it was about relinquishing the hope that new joy could ever be within reach. One day, as she sifted through her husband's possessions, she stumbled upon a postcard from long ago. It was a remnant of a journey they never embarked on. On the back, he inscribed, "There's still so much to discover. Let's never cease." Something in those words ignited a spark within her. She eagerly registered for the upcoming community event, a cooking demonstration at the senior center. With a hint of anxiety, she arrived. There, she encountered a woman named June, who had also recently lost her partner. They connected through their mutual experiences and exchanged recipes. That small step reminded Martha that life after loss doesn't equate to retreating. It can signify blossoming in new directions. By opting to participate even during challenging moments, she allowed herself the opportunity to uncover unforeseen joy. The gravest error she almost committed was thinking her narrative had reached its conclusion. Yet narratives do not conclude in sorrow. They transform. They progress. And with bravery, they reveal something greater. Final reflections. We frequently believe that wisdom is derived solely from our successes. However, the reality is quite different. The most profound understanding arises from acknowledging our mistakes and making the conscious decision to evolve from them. Martha's tale is not uncommon. Numerous older individuals, particularly those navigating life in solitude after years of companionship, traverse a path filled with quietude, apprehension, and remorse. However, the beginning of something in sadness doesn't dictate that it must remain that way. Each error Martha committed stemmed from suffering. Yet, every misstep was also a call to something greater. An invitation to rekindle connections and to restore a sense of self-worth. Perhaps you can recognize fragments of her within yourself or in someone dear to you. If that's the case, consider it a soft reminder. There's still time failing to manage your finances, neglecting your health, avoiding the establishment of a joyful routine, refraining from speaking with purpose, and certainly not embracing the opportunity for new friendships and fresh starts. The journey ahead might seem unclear, yet it remains yours to navigate, one deliberate step at a time, with a calm resilience. We appreciate your presence with us today. We eagerly await your thoughts and feedback. We invite you to leave a comment below and share something you learned today, along with your plans for applying it in your life. Your insights matter, so please feel free to express them. Your feedback inspires and uplifts us tremendously. If you found this video enjoyable and helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it. Your support enables us to keep producing valuable content that informs and inspires. Thank you for watching, and we eagerly anticipate your presence in the next video.